Now listen, please. The destiny of our children is in our hands. Only God can bend a dry fish without breaking it. I grew up in a place where you're not permitted to do what you like or what is right. I don't care what schools your children go to. You cannot create their tomorrow. In our days when you lack home training. That was the word. You lack home training. People don't train anybody. Even children of 5 years are sent abroad. Is that prosperity or poverty?
Now, do you agree with what Bishop Oyedepo just said? It's a question. People don't train people anymore. Even 5 years old children are sent abroad now for schooling, for education. Is that prosperity? You may not agree with what he says, and he says really harsh words. Number one, he doesn't believe that getting an American visa or a UK visa is a testimony. He doesn't believe that getting an American visa or traveling or relocating abroad is a sign that things will now become better for you. He doesn't believe that. Now, he's making a stronger statement here that sending a child to school abroad, people may think it is prosperity, but he's asking, is it really prosperity? Many people may hide behind the fact that they are sending their children abroad to study so that they can get better education. But is that really the case? You will find out if you cared to ask that many people are sending their children abroad to prove their prosperity, to show off that they have arrived, that they have money. Not necessarily because they want them to have an education. When this YouTuber, Tiamiyu, MD, said what he said by giving his interview to BBC, many people came down harsh on him. And I did a video earlier on my thoughts about that, how the guy exactly is doing Nigerians a favor. But many people took it the other way. In that video, I did not say that all Nigerians are poor. Neither did I say that all Nigerians that travel to UK to go and study are not helping Nigeria. Neither am I saying that all Nigerians must reject traveling abroad to fight for Nigeria. It's a mindset. The point that I seek to make is this: Nigerians must focus their energies on developing Nigeria. It is a conflict of interest problem that Nigeria and indeed Africa has. So long as we have the opportunity, so long as we believe that we have the option to travel out for an education or to get better life, we will not fix our country. Remember the story of Winston Churchill about the British general who, while leading his army to war, he had an army of about 100 men, and he was facing the army of about 10,000 men. And his army's morale, the army of 100, was low because they were afraid that they were meeting an army that was larger in all ways than they were. So their morale was low. What did that general do to raise the morale of those people? They had to cross a bridge. After crossing the bridge that separated their land from the enemy's land, the general bombed that bridge and destroyed it. And then he turned and faced his army and said, you see, the only bridge that we can use to go back to our land has been destroyed. So right now, the only way for us to survive is either we destroy those enemies or we die. And because they did not have the option to retreat, they did not have any option to escape, they actually won that war against their larger army. That is how it is in life. If you feel that you have an opportunity, an alternative, you will not do what is necessary to succeed. And that's what is wrong with Africa. That is what is wrong with Nigerians. That is wrong. What is wrong with Nigeria? So long as Nigerian citizens believe that they have the option to JAPA, to relocate to Europe, to America, to UK, to Australia, to wherever, so long as they have that mindset, Nigeria will not be better, because we won't have people who will do whatever it takes to fix Nigeria. Now, I'm not saying that all Nigerians must remain in Nigeria. The example of India and the example of China that many people are quick to give, you forget that at some point these people had to close their borders, which meant that majority of their citizens had to look inwards. And those who had got skills out there were brought to impact the skills, to impact on the remainder of the citizens. Is that what is happening in Africa today? Is that what is happening in Nigeria today? In all the years that we have been sending our children to study abroad, over 40 years now, how many of those expatriates have we brought to impact their knowledge on Nigeria so that Nigeria can be better? Short question. Is Nigeria better now? 40 years after, 50 years after, 60 years after. Is Nigeria better now from sending their children abroad to school in UK, in Europe, in America, in Canada, in Australia, wherever? Is Nigeria better now? Your answer is as good as mine. It is not. So what is the essence of the education? I am a student of education, and I know that the primary objective of education is to make the society better. It is to make the individual, the citizen, a useful member of the society. In other words, you want to teach that citizen the skill and the morals he needs to make the society better, to lead a successful life. That's the purpose of education. So, if that is true, how is sending our children out to study abroad for the past 60 years, past 40 years, how has it made Nigeria better? I can tell you that those people, the United Kingdom, the British, the Americans, the Europeans, they have structured international collaborations in such a way that it is tilted in their favor. And I don't blame them. They are patriotic, they are nationalistic. Nobody is stopping us from being patriotic. Nobody is stopping us from being nationalistic. No country can survive on its own. But there is no country that develops that will not look to homegrown its own solution. That is what I am talking about. We need to begin to focus and look inwards to stop this conflict of interest. If we stop the conflict of interest, Nigeria will develop. Our politicians are able to do the things that they do because they can. So if we criminalize politicians and leaders and government officials, government workers, if we criminalize their sending their children to school abroad, or they themselves schooling abroad, we criminalize them sending themselves, their family abroad for medical treatment. If we criminalize their buying properties abroad, if we criminalize this, and then we set up a social welfare scheme that takes care of people, and then we set up a business mindset development program for Nigerian citizens, 6 months to 1 year, Nigeria will change. So let's direct our energy towards this to force the institutionalization of food and social welfare law, helps for unemployed and indigent Nigerians, women, aged, children. We need to institutionalize this. Once it is institutionalized, and Nigerians have criminalized, our leaders can no longer send monies abroad, send their children abroad for health care, for medical care, and they cannot be buying properties out. If they want to do that, then they can be private citizens doing business. But for them to work with government, for them to become public officials, we have to criminalize this. If not, conflict of interest will not let them work. This is what we should be pursuing. When we pursue this, we are united. This solution does not divide Nigeria. By the time we are pursuing individuals, that kind of solutions very quickly divides Nigeria. But when we are saying, look, provide institution or institutionalize the help, social welfare law for all Nigerians. Every tribe, every religion have poor persons. So they all stand to benefit. Rather than divide Nigeria, it will actually unite the average Nigerians. The division will no longer be amongst the poorest Nigerians using religion and ethnicity. It will now be dividing Nigeria between the oppressed and the oppressor. And that way, the oppressed can get true justice and value, and Nigeria can then grow. That is what we need. Not running abroad. Change that mindset. Once that mindset is changed, we can bring solution and change Nigeria. The new Nigeria that we talk about, that we dream about, we can make it a reality. But it starts with you supporting this program.